Thank you, Johan and Michael, for this great handoff. We're so happy to be here despite new circumstances, but also shows great innovation that we can do this online instead of meeting as we usually do at the Swedish Embassy in DC. We're very happy to be here, and I'm also really excited to introduce my three panelists, where we will today discuss some very important questions that we can do. This pandemic also show that there's a lot of new ways of thinking in order to continue the business to grow. And the keywords are innovation, business models, and sustainability. The three people and the three companies I would like to introduce is first Johan VANHOREN. He's the president and CEO of Alfa Laval for North America. And Alfa Laval is a world leader in key technology areas where you work on heat transfer. They're very focused on clean energy. And then we also have Victoria van Kamp. She's the CTO of SKF, who produces bearings. And that's also a world leading company. And we're very excited to hear about a lot of things that also SKF is doing for the world, but also for their own company. And in order to tie this together with a business model, sustainability, and innovation. And then we have our third person, which is Martin Pei. He's the CTO of SSAB, and SSAB is a specialist in producing high-strength steel. That's also a very renowned Swedish company with a lot of tradition. So with that, I would like to say welcome to all three of you, and I'm so excited to have you here. And I wanted to start off a question to Victoria van Kamp today, because given how we're focusing on, it used to be with sustainability. Also myself, knowing that I created a company where the products are sustainable, how do you build a business around that with products that actually are better than products that are not sustainable or green? And then looking at the interesting facts of business models, how do you create a business with products that are driven by the business model instead of just driven, you add sustainability as an add-on? So Victoria, I think you have some interesting insights in this.
Yeah, let's thank you. So I work for a company founded in 1907 as a way to reduce friction. And why do you want to reduce friction? Because anything related to friction means you're consuming too much energy compared to what you're actually getting out on the other end. So our company was founded in Gothenburg, Sweden, by a man who wanted actually to, I guess, save the world, but he wanted to make Swedish industry competitive and by reducing their costs and their waste. And that is something I'm really proud of, working for a company that was founded from the beginning to reduce energy losses. So SKF keeps producing. We're 44,000 employees all over the world. Our company would actually be the most happy if we did not have to sell any more bearings. We would like our customers' machinery to run and run and run so that our products wouldn't really be needed, at least not as replacement parts. And how could we, because that is the most sustainable, what we can do. Now, how would we do that? By, instead of getting paid for a spare part, we would get paid when the customer's machine is running. And that combination of us providing a function and the customer's machine running actually means that our interests, ours and the customers, align. The customer doesn't want to stop their machine. They don't want to buy spare parts. SSAB doesn't want to do that. They actually want their machine to keep running. And when we do that, our payment is in a form of positive payment, so for providing a function. And doing so, you can see that in order to become more sustainable, we actually need to change business model, because the old model builds on selling more and more stuff, if you want.
Yes, that's very interesting. Thank you. Does that lead into the hybrid project also that the Swedish Prime Minister opened up with? It's your project, but he was there to kind of kick it off together with you. where
No.
you also reduce the long shipments of coal.
That's SSAB, actually. That's Martin that will be talking about that. But we do hope we can use hybrid steel in bearings at some point.
Yep. Excellent. Thank you, Victoria. Then that was a natural lead in to Martin to present a little bit more about SSAB, but also then talk more about the hybrid project where you're reducing the long shipments also, as understood, with coal and everything.
Yes, thank you very much for inviting us to join this very exciting panel. SSAB, as you already mentioned, that we are the world leader in high-strength steel, and sustainability and innovation has always been part of our business, core of our business. We are a company that promote use of high-strength steel and wear-resistant steel. So our business actually is built on our customers using less steel, so that the steel products can last longer and also with higher strength, especially in mobility applications. Reduce weight will also promote the environment impact from, for example, a truck or a car. SSAB today is having production facilities in the Nordic countries, in Sweden and Finland, using the blast furnace technology, producing high-strength steel from iron ore. And in the United States, we have 2 steel plants using recycled scrap. So in US, we are having a very good production footprint. But in Sweden and Finland, using the blast furnace-based technology, which is based on iron ore reduction using coal in the process, generates a lot of carbon dioxide emission from steel production. In this technology, SSAB today is the world leader already in that, using that technology. We are the company that actually sets the benchmark in the European Union's carbon dioxide emission trading system. But it is not enough if we want to work with the climate mitigation action that we need to do. So that's the reason why we launched the hybrid project back in 2016. We proposed this initiative and we invited LKAB and Vattenfall. So we together created the hybrid joint venture. We have been since then doing fundamental research work involving a number of universities, research institutes, and together we join our R&D organization. And we explore this technology. We did a pre-feasibility study. We realized that this using hydrogen at the industrial scale will give us the possibility to take away the root cause of carbon dioxide emission from the iron steel making process. And we made the evaluation. This is also promising from the economic perspective, so that we decided in the beginning of 2018 to invest in the pilot plant phase. And that was the main part was started up by the Swedish Prime Minister last week. And that has been a very important step for us. And now we really look forward to carry out the planned test campaigns so that we can show this can work at the industrial scale.
Very good. And what's your time frame for the next step in the hybrid project?
Our plan is now we are in this pilot plant. We will carry out the test campaigns in the coming 4 years. But already now we have started the plan to build our demonstration plant. And this is a full-scale industrial step we are planning. We are right now in the process of choosing a proper site for a 1 million ton plant in northern part of Sweden. At the same time, we are also carrying out the preparation work for closing down 2 of our blast furnaces in Oxelösund, steel plant south of Stockholm, where we will convert that plant into an electric arc furnace melt shop, similar facilities we have already in the United States. So together with a hybrid spon drying plant and the SSAB conversion, we will create the first commercial possible delivery of fossil-free steel on the market in 2026. So that is our plan for next step.
Very good. It's very interesting. Thank you, Martin. And that leads me to Mr. Joe VANHOREN, the President and CEO of Alfa Laval. And with the aim of what they're working on, I think hearing also from both SKF and SSAB about the business models and how it's actually a change in not selling more. It's making the customers understand too that the better the products you buy, if I've understood this right too, also from Victoria, the better the products you buy, you need to source less, which means the company who sells the products that last longer should have a business model where they're actually rewarded too for selling high quality products. And that leads me a bit into as well, Joe, for the 3D printers, and also how you're working on hyperlocality to try to reduce, because sustainability can be resolved in many ways. And one way as well is to make sure that everything is up and running, and maybe also cutting a lot of shipments where you need to replace parts or make parts. And I thought it was really interesting, besides a lot of other things, but I wanted to open up with how you guys are working with a 3D printer to work on some of your items.
Yeah, no, I can expand a bit on that. But before I do that, I think it's in Alfa Laval's world, we always have been believing about sustainability and driving innovation linked to sustainability. And for us, when it comes to the business model, it's really about less is more. And making sure that basically our customers are able to consume less energy, less water, less production of waste, and less emissions. And in that sense, that actually the business model is coming automatically, that actually at the bottom line, our customers should save basically money at the end. And it has to be a business proposal which is cost efficient. And I think now these days, we have many technologies in our group where actually we can help out our customers in helping achieving those objectives by investing in that kind of equipment with a higher kind of performance. At the same time, we are also looking in our own supply chains and what can we do different in basically in assuring that we contribute to a better sustainable environment. And 3D printing technology is just one example of it, where that we typically would ship spare parts from one part of the continent or the world to another part with very often 24 hours deliveries. So it's always express deliveries, meaning air transportation, which is of course these days still not sustainable. So 3D printing technology is definitely a very interesting technology where actually we can think about, instead of selling a spare part, we basically sell a drawing, which it's a one-time drawing which you can use. So it's an encrypted drawing which automatically gets destroyed once the 3D part is printed. And actually we can print very close where our customers are located. So it is just an example of a technology where also we jump on to see, okay, can we start to organize our business in a different way? The same we do with our field service technicians. Field service technicians specifically typically would go to the plant of our customer. These days we look in technologies. Can we, instead of sending field service technicians to the site, can we guide our customers through remote guidance and actually repair our equipment without actually being there? So yeah, there's many new ways to look at, that's for sure.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. And that leads me into, that's very good. And your other, that kind of, since the way you're approaching it with the spare parts and all this, and also doing remotely, that leads me into your strategic project or venture with Google as well to work on doing energy without batteries. Can you elaborate a bit more on that?
Yeah, actually, the group is really refocusing on being having a very high stake in the clean energy part. We are not making entire plants, but we make the components for that. And basically, we have taken a stake in the company Malta, which is a spin-off or a startup from Google X. So it's a joint investment with money from Bill Gates, from Jeff Bezos, and from Alfa Laval. And basically what we look into is, we know that energy consumption is going to increase. By 2050, we will need about 54% more energy because of the population which is growing. And at the same time, according to the Paris Agreement, we should make sure that we keep the global warming below 1.5 degrees. So that's a tough challenge, meaning more production of energy while we have to reduce CO2 at the same time, actually reduce CO2 by a rate of 60%. So knowing that today renewable energy is already like 25% of the mix, it's foreseen that by 2050, renewables will stand for 86%. And about 60% of the renewable energy will come from solar and wind power. Solar and wind power are beautiful energy sources because they are super clean. The only bad thing about it is you cannot store it typically. I mean, you produce energy when the sun is shining or when the wind is blowing. So we have to come and find solutions. How are we going to store that energy when the wind is not blowing and the sun is not shining, so that still customers have electricity? And lithium is a typical one, is one way of doing it, but we know already that all the lithium in the world is going to be needed for cars and for transportation. So what we look into now is, can we store energy in a thermal way? And that's basically where the Malta comes in, where actually all the energy is stored into a molten salt, which we heat up to an extremely high temperature. And that actually, that heat source can then be used actually to drive electricity generation in the off hours. This requires state-of-the-art technology, total new inventions to make it, especially to make it economically at a price where it can fly on its own. So that is the challenge. How can you make a breakthrough on technology, but still at the right affordable price? And that's where we are engaged in, and it looks really promising. So
excellent. Thank you, Joe. This is some very interesting, I think, how everything ties together with the three companies that are present here as well. I wanted to take the opportunity as well to lead into the business model. We've touched again how the business models are changing, and instead of selling a lot of products that maybe break fast, you are aiming, all of you are aiming for products to show also the quality, because we want to reduce the burden on our planet and everything around it by not spending more on products that breaks. So I'm really curious how, so I would like to start with Victoria there, how you've been able to implement this so in some countries, I think it's easier to get the understanding because maybe we're not used to, in some places, to buy as much, and we're hoping for it to last for a long time. I can take my mother as an example, her vacuum cleaner. I remember when the Electrolux salesperson came into our house, that one was still there when she passed away. And so I'm thinking, and whereas I go through a lot of vacuum cleaners here lately, I keep buying the wrong thing. So I'm thinking, how do you implement the model and get the customer to understand? Because it really is a paradigm shift that you are trying to sell on your excellence you're showing by buying our products. We want to reward you. So I'm interested a little bit there, Victoria, if you could explain that.
Yeah, the key here, I think, is to demonstrate the savings, because most companies, they they may buy something and throw it away, but they do it because that is they believe, the lowest cost option.
Yeah.
But our task as a supplier is actually to show the total saving and value and maybe even increased output. So what is the cost of an unplanned stop? If you have in a paper mill, there are some 600 bearings spinning all the time. One of those 600 breaks, the entire paper mill stops. No paper comes out. The cost of that is enormous. So instead, if you keep this spinning, there will be a saving because there is no repair and downtime and no parts. But the even more interesting thing is you can keep producing instead of standing still, and you don't make your customers disappointed. So that is for us the biggest way to transform it. Not so much, of course, the environmental argument. Now the environmental argument is also by legislation, by general awareness, is becoming more important. But when you combine green with, it's actually the most financially sound decision, then it becomes interesting to most customers.
Excellent.
So that is how we think about that. And then it does put completely different demands on our technology. So in the past, we focused a lot on smooth surfaces, clean steel, and we still do, but that's kind of that's the bottom line now. The new technologies is completely different materials that almost never breaks. They may cost a lot more, so they were impossible to use in the past, but now they are. So new materials like ceramics that we are using, but also artificial intelligence in order to make sure that nothing goes wrong at a customer, there is a vast amount of data coming in. We would get process data, we will get water quality data, oil data, bearing speed, temperatures, all kinds of hundreds of signals. And that's not possible to keep track of for human beings, but AI can do that. So we actually acquired an Israeli artificial intelligence startup last year, and we're making use of them to predict what will happen, because when you know, you can also adjust. So new technologies that were in the past not really of interest to us because of this new business model and different way of thinking, it drives us to go to new technologies. And sustainability comes with this. And we are really happy about it because, as I said, that was a foundation of the company from the beginning.
Very good. Thank you. Martin, I'd like to put the same question to you there. We have about 4 minutes left. So we'll about a minute for this one for both you and Joe. And then I have one more question that I wanted to get your response, since there are a lot of people interested in hearing all your thoughts on this.
Okay, I will make it short. For SSAB, as I mentioned, we have been working very long time to help our customers to use high-strength steel products to reduce their products' environmental impact. For example, in an automobile or in a truck, to reduce the end pipe emission when the trucks are used. What we see now is that in the automotive and the heavy transport segment, the focus is now when they convert to the electrical vehicles, then the material itself, the carbon footprint becomes the next issue to tackle. So with a hybrid project, SSAB wants to provide our customers with a totally fossil-free steel product, so that this can then help our customers to reach their goal of getting their products fossil-free. So that is a demand that we see clearly is growing very much.
Very good. Thank you. And then Joe, can the same question to you regarding the business model, but also if you can tie it into your film there as well regarding clean energy. I'm just interested to see if you can tie that together.
Well, that's maybe more of a difficult thing, but I can focus on connectivity. So we are definitely driving a lot to get our products connected, and with the aim, of course, to predict failures before the failure is happening. And actually, we work very closely together with SKF, and do actually the monitoring of the bearings in our machinery and make sure that they don't break down, and actually we predict upfront when they need to be replaced. And that we do the same with other kinds of equipment like heat exchangers. We can upfront already going to say, this is the optimum time to clean the heat exchanger so that you consume less energy at the end. So artificial intelligence is opening a world of possibilities. There is no doubt about that. And for that, you need data. So there is no doubt we only gonna have a more efficient world by connecting more and more the things together.
Excellent. Thank you. Then I would like to add, so the pandemic, we have seen research-based as well that when big crises happen in the world, a lot of new innovation, development, and new thinking happens because we're forced to do things differently. We can also look at athletes who are setting record after record right now after solely being in training, and they're focused on being fast instead of going the normal, because they're big championships where you train for certain events. I was thinking from your end, again, I'll start with Victoria, ladies first. So what's your thinking on COVID? What have you seen within your company that you are thinking differently to make sure you stay ahead and leading in your area?
Great question. It's very strange to say that COVID has had some positive effects, but it has actually. For us, in the technology area, but also in other areas, we have given up this urge to plan for ever and ever into the future, the 5-year plan, the long term, because yes, you need to have a vision where you're going, but to do detailed planning on several year horizon, this time it was COVID, but next time it's a new technology, it's a disruptive something that comes in from the side. And if we think back, which we did now, we realized that we spent a lot of time planning long term and it wasn't really helping us. So the key thing is to look shorter and deliver. So what we did now was to revamp our technology roadmap on a 6-month, 9-month horizon with a very clear vision. And what is in this roadmap is anything related to connectivity, but easy connectivity, something that our customers, who also are forced to think much shorter, something that they can implement now, not in 3-4 years. So that is a big change for us. And I think something that will definitely stay.
Yeah, that's excellent. Thank you, Victoria. Martin, same question to you with COVID and changes in your way to operate.
Yes, of course, we as a company have been impacted by this pandemic, but nevertheless, we have put all our efforts to move ahead full speed to drive the hybrid initiative. This is the very, very significant step of a breakthrough technology development. We see now also the society around us, the European Union, the Swedish government are all talking about solving 2 crises at once. So when now the economy recovers, really more sustainable technology development is needed so that we don't go back to the fossil-based economy. So we are actually pushing extremely hard to move ahead with our project as fast as possible. That has been really very, very important for us as a company.
That's really good. Thank you. And Joe, same question to you.
Yeah, thank you. And I think, like ourselves, our customers, with the pandemic, they had to be super efficient from day one, because basically business is declining and still you need to survive in a good mode, right? So creative solutions have been invented by everyone, and getting digitally connected with customers has changed definitely the way we see on how we should actually drive business with our customers going forward. And I also think that in a B2B environment, even our customers are not going to sit and wait and in order to receive sales guys from Alfa Laval. So we definitely have focused so much more on efficiency, and that's going to be there to stay. and interacting with our customers, interacting in between suppliers has definitely changed, and it's not gonna turn back. So we put now a lot of focus on how can our business models change as well, because the business-to-business world is only going to become even more digital. In my opinion, we just have seen the start of it.
Excellent. Thank you. Well, I have to say, I'm truly honored to have been moderating this session. I would love to talk to all of you more. It was such a great opportunity to be able to talk to you for this time. I think everyone listening, there might be people contacting you for more in-depth questions around this. And I think the 3 keywords from innovation, business model, sustainability has really expanded also to the shorter planning instead of having very long cycles. We have shorter planning, we have quality focus where the companies are being rewarded for having high quality and the customers are paying for that. Data driven, also utilizing the new AI technology to get this done. Focused on finding new ways of doing business. And I also think the key, the really good strategic partnerships, partnering, like you're mentioning, with the right groups, getting these things done, speeding up some of the projects you're already working on to get it done faster, because this crisis is also showing that what we're doing is on the right path. And I also think that the creative solutions that we do, both like hardcore technology, but also connect that digitally, is key. So with that, I'm truly grateful for I had this opportunity, and normally we would have had a break to network a little bit. So we'll do a different type of networking. And with that, I would like to hand that over to Johan and Michael. So thank you once again for all this.